We are streaming. We're live.
Woohoo! Fantastic.
All right. So, hi everybody. My name is Nico DeGaio. I'm a game master and dungeon master, and I'm fresh out of the shower, so my hair's still drying off. Um, I do, uh, besides a bunch of TTRPG content, which is presumably why you're here. Oh wait, hold on. I'm trying to get myself centered. There we go. Presumably why you're here. I also do burlesque. I do a charity stream on OF where we play Daggerheart live, and then as we remove outfit pieces, we get tips, and that imposes disadvantage and stuff or advantage on our rolls. And then anyway, long story short, we give a cut to charity, which is really cool. Spicy dice. And let's see what else I talked about. The TTRPG stuff. I said the charity stream I do, and I'm a burlesque performer and host for Bat City Bombshells and Erotic Queer Burlesque, and in Austin, Texas. And finally, I'm a professional voice actor. I've actually even trained the person who's going to be on this stream with me today. Everybody, give it up for Renegade Rich.
I need you to follow me around all the time and just introduce me with that much hype. That'd be fantastic.
I'll
But
do
yeah,
it
my
every
name's Rich.
time.
Amazing. My name's Rich. I am a fellow TTRPG YouTuber talking about basically any role playing game that I can get my hands on. For Daggerheart, I fell in love with that as soon as I heard about it. Got very excited, and I've been playing it ever since. Well, actually, a small little confession, if you will, Nico. I have never played Daggerheart before. I've run the game loads of times. There are actual play streams of me running the game for people new to TTRPGs, and I've run the game lots and lots. But I've never actually played as a player. And so this is new and exciting. I have made characters online for other people before, but I've never had the pleasure of defacing a piece of paper with a new character. So I am excited for what we're going to do today.
Me too. And speed of defacing a piece of paper. That has nothing to do with me putting my chapstick on.
Very odd metaphor.
We are doing this. However, we're doing this on pen and paper, because a lot of people have approached Daggerheart using tools like Demiplane and stuff like that, and I totally get it, right? I played D&D for years, and I used D&D Beyond. The thing about Daggerheart is it is so incredibly simple, where with D&D, it was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to use a character sheet for real. And then hold on. And then as I did learn to use a character sheet, I was like, whoa, there's so much going on under the hood here. I did not realize that. With Daggerheart, I was using digital character sheets as I first learned the game. And then I looked up how to make a character sheet like pen and paper. And I was like, oh, it's just face value. It's just straight up there's like almost, I think there's maybe one calculation you have to make for the entire sheet.
Yeah.
And that's it. I was like, whoa, this is crazy easy. And so I feel like the value of seeing this is realizing how simple it actually is, as opposed to D&D, where like with D&D Beyond, you're like, I will never grasp all of this. There is so much nonsensical, arcane mumbo jumbo on this piece of paper, and saving throw calculations, and spell attack bonuses and stuff like that. It's like, no, this is just and proficiency versus what is it, expertise, things like that. Daggerheart really, really simplifies stuff. So we're going to show you, the viewers at home, how to make a Daggerheart character completely from scratch. And I will say, confession, on my own end, I have almost every time I've done this just watched the Get Your Sheet Together video on character creation. I found that it does a super good job of walking you through it. It uses the PDF or the pen and paper character sheet, and each character sheet comes with a guide that shows you how to fill it out, or gives you suggestions for how to fill it out. I will say I have had two players. I've had two players ever get upset after getting a PDF character sheet and then being told to watch the video. The first one, and by the way, they were at the same table. The first one, um, they got upset because they got to the experiences section and didn't understand how to fill it out. That's like one of the last things you do. In spite of the fact that I had outright said, don't do that, wait for me, don't worry about it, I'll explain it later. And so they completely missed that, and then were like, I don't understand what's going on. And I was like, you're not supposed, we'll get there. The other one
Yeah.
was commiserating with that player and was like, that video was stupid. Where did they get the numbers from? Like, for the traits and all this other stuff. Like, I figured out eventually that it's the character guide, but like, he never says that, Matt Mercer, he never says where he gets those numbers from. I had to figure that out. And I was like, I replayed the video, and 20 seconds in, he says, and you can find these numbers on your character guide, which is the second sheet after your character sheet, right at the top. And he even showed, because she's like, well, he didn't show it, and then it literally, like, the character sheet goes, and then rises up, and then it shows you the character guide with the numbers and everything. So I was like, you were probably multitasking and just wasn't paying attention to the video. Anyway, so
No, not going to be the case today. You have my undivided attention.
that's wild, because I have
Yeah.
ADHD.
It's like
I don't even have my own undivided attention most of the time.
Just got my cold and blinking stare.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, that's plenty of that.
So the annoying thing about the way we're streaming is I'm capturing video and stuff from Discord. If I like minimize the window or anything, I will lose Discord. So, Rich, if you want to spam the link, the share link to as many places as possible, including the Dungeon Jam, because I feel like, hey, yay, Dungeon Jam friends. Hey, Peter, hi. Ooh. Okay, cool. Let's knock this out while we're doing this shit.
Cool.
Oh God, can I curse on YouTube? Is that allowed?
It's too late now. It's out in the world.
It's too late now. I don't give a fuck. Okay, here we go. First, I mean, look, I got to get over the hump there. First step, everybody, and thank you for watching, Peter, is choosing a class. Welcome to Daggerheart, where the points are made up and the class doesn't matter. No, it kind of does. So let's go ahead and choose a class. Reference. Yay!
Cool. Let me see. Pasted over there. Sweet. It's in lots of different places now, and we'll see who comes and joins. And I'm going to do something smart. Brace yourself, because OBS is working. Check it out. Here we go.
Woo!
Heck yeah. And hopefully it's a good resolution. Hopefully people can see. So when I mentioned that I've run Daggerheart lots and lots, it's because I did pick up the special edition pre-order box set thing. It was it's probably the prettiest box of role-playing game goodness that I've ever had in my possession. And it comes with a whole load of these character creation sheets. There's all manner of other bits as well as like the equipment list and stuff like that. So I'm at quite a nice advantage here. All of this stuff is free to print off as well. If you don't have it for yourself, the Daggerheart website has all of these things available to download, and it should be relatively easy to find. I don't have a printer just now, is the trouble. Which means my choices for characters are limited to the ones that I've got left in the pad of paper. But one of the ones I do have left, and I'm quite looking forward to this, is I've got
a
sorcerer.
Yeah. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. In this case, no, she's born with it.
Yeah.
So, really quick, I just want to say it's ironic because it's like for people who don't have the money to throw at a special edition version of the game, you can download them for free and just print them at home, which is ironically the thing you cannot do, but exactly what I do, where I download everything for free because I've spent all my money on microphones like this and props like ping pong balls for my charity stream. So let's go ahead and get on into it. If you are new to Daggerheart, really interesting thing that they do, which simplifies the process a lot, is rather than redundantly having to put the same frickin' class features on your character sheet, anytime you want to make a sorcerer, they have a version of the character sheet that just has the class features already printed on the sheet. How fun! There's also... Yes, there it is, right there. And show them the hope feature. Show them the hope feature.
Hope feature. See, I'm learning this. Actually, I've not had to navigate one of these sheets before. Hope feature is volatile magic. Spend 3 hope to reroll any number of your damage dice on an attack that deals magic damage. And that's the kind of stuff when I've done pen and paper character sheets before. That's the kind of thing that takes ages to find, or
Yes.
there's no space for it on a character sheet, so I forget, and then it's lost to the world. But having
Mm-hmm.
it here just front and center, actually on the core thing, is a trick that I'd love to see other systems implement. I mean, I love Daggerheart, I will play it a lot, but if there was a specific, I don't know, barbarian character sheet in D&D, that'd be wonderful.
Wouldn't it? And also, it's like, oh no, where's the hope feature? And we all watched somebody find the hope feature in moments. It was in the large box with the header in bold, all capital letters, the word hope. Yeah, pretty easy to find. But anyway, moving on. So you've chosen your class. By the way, everybody, that's step one. They're done. They just all they did was pick their class and they got the character sheet for it. That's the whole part of your class.
Yeah.
That's it.
Here's all the steps, by the way. We have the character creation sheet, which has 9 steps in total, some of which are super quick to get through, and some are a bit more involved. But we are 1/9 of the way there already. This is an
Yeah.
efficient time. Yeah,
Watch
Renegade
watch
Roll
as
versus
I
Nico de Gallo. Oh,
Watch as I don't over explain every step the way I did the first one. All right, moving on. So, step 2 is choosing a heritage. Now, your heritage is made out of 2 things. It is your community, like the hood you came up from, and then it's also what you are, right? So, I am a human. Most of us are. But some of you viewing this at home, maybe dogs or cats. I don't know, you know?
I hope so. I'd
Yeah.
like to know if anyone is watching with their dogs and cats. Hopefully, like trapped on the sofa because their cats decided that is their bed for the night and they're just not going to move. I would like to hear about that.
I'm wiggling my video game controller head earrings so that they can the cats have something to swipe at. All right, so moving on. Your heritage. In Daggerheart, you don't have to write stuff down, figure out, oh man, which stats does that increase, or what are all the features, or oh look, my ancestry comes with spell casting, and now I need to learn the whole spell casting subsystem because that's crunchy. Instead, you just grab a couple of cards. So the first one we're gonna do is we're gonna grab.
Here we go.
What a pretty card binder.
I know this has got dragon. Look at this; it's got dragon on the front.
That better not
This
be
is like-
AI art. I'll be so pissed.
Oh, it's a good like 3 years old, I think. So I think it's just the right side of AI art. But I needed a dragon thing to put my stuff in, and it works.
I'm not actually
perfectly.
gonna. I'm not actually gonna spank you on a YouTube stream. Don't worry. Okay, so yeah, what's what are you?
Oh, I don't know. So I'm just having a nice little rummage through all these. So for anyone, I assume most of are probably quite familiar with the options, but we do have Clank, Dracona. There's some fun variations on the ones we might know and love from D&D. They're all very legally distinct for, legal reasons. So Clank's, Draconas, Dwarves, Elves, Fairies, Fauns, Furbolgs, Fungrills, Galapas, Giants, Goblins, Halflings, Humans, Infernus, Qatari, Orcs, where are we? There we go. Ribbits and Simia. And then these ones are on the page behind, so don't look at them.
So
they are. I love the art. I will say it's like 5 times tonight.
yes,
But I absolutely love seeing the art
beautiful.
on these.
The
So
art's beautiful.
nice.
Now, Rich, why don't you show us how simple completing this step is?
Okay, I would like to be an orc. I've decided I want a magical orc. Done. Card comes out, goes next to my sheet. And if I can arrange that right, it's probably just off camera. This side.
Perfect.
There we
No, it's
go.
perfect right there. Yeah.
Done.
Nice.
And
Okay.
now
Done.
I can see at a glance. The orcs are humanoids most easily recognized by their square features and boar-like tusks that protrude from the lower jaws. My special abilities are I'm sturdy, which means if I have 1 hit point remaining, attacks against me have disadvantage, and I have tusks. Yeah. Succeed in an attack against a target within melee range, you can spend a hope to gore a target with your tusks, dealing extra 1d6 damage.
Now, I'll tell
Lovely.
you what, I'm never going to remember that, but it's a good thing you have a card that says what that does. And for the sake of expediency, and because we're trying to just show people how freaking quick and simple it is, excuse me. Let's just not even bother with reading. We'll just go through it and stuff. Because also, Rich has told me that they would like to sign off in 26 minutes for what they have called a sensible bedtime. And I want to make sure that we
Sensible
get through
bedtime.
it. Uh, and obviously, right, if you're playing the game and you're actually making your own character, feel free to read through all this stuff. But for now, we're just going to breeze right through it. So we've already chosen our class. We've chosen the ancestry. Rich, go ahead and choose a community. Show us how
Cool.
it's done.
Right. I'm going to go highborn, actually, first on here. I imagine a highborn orc could be really interesting.
Yeah,
And
so
this
it's like
one,
an aristocratic
it's
court.
such yeah, getting that out of the binder is the challenge. Here we go. Highborn. Done.
The hardest
And
part was pulling the card out of the binder. All right,
yeah.
we have your heritage complete. That's it, everybody. It's just that. It's just they got a card for what they are, and then they got a card for where they're from. Rich, anything else that the folks at home need to know?
Ooh, on how to do that. I think it's good. You can also, I believe, print out your own cards for free.
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
This is a game you can spend £0 and dollars or whatever your currency of choice on this hobby.
yes.
Um,
To that end, by the way, I want to say, if any of you have used the free service Google Docs, you can literally just take screenshots of the cards and then drag and drop the JPEGs onto a Google Doc, and I have like one page that just has all 5 of my cards just on display for me, and you can print that out. And if you don't want to actually hold cards, or if you're the kind of person like me growing up, I didn't want to use my new crayons because I didn't want them to get all blunted and stuff. I loved my brand new sharpened pointy crayons. Anyway, we're moving on. So your traits.
yes,
Would you show us the trait section on your character sheet?
I can do that. I need to be clever with the thing. Here we go. Yeah.
Perfect.
So
It's right there at the top.
traits all live at the top, the big ones at the top of the page. And the thing which your friend struggled with, the suggested traits, at the top of this second sheet.
Yes.
So we have
So
suggested traits.
really quick before you go through what those are, yeah, Daggerheart. If you're brand new to the game, when you print a character sheet out, it has 2 pages. The first page is the actual sheet, like what you're going to need to reference when you're rolling dice. The other page is just the top third is, hey, here's what you should put on the character sheet. The middle part is some questions about your background or how your character's connected to the rest of the party. Because, by the way, as somebody who's been GMing for so long, it is so boring for the gajillionth time to see a bunch of strangers meeting in a tavern again. I mean, like, there's something fun to the cliche, you know? But for most players, they don't have to see that as often as GMs have to see that every time, which is why I love to throw people in the middle of the action right as soon as a one-shot starts, and why I love ending sessions on cliffhangers and stuff. But anyway, so yes, at the top of your character sheet, it has suggested traits. Rich, show us how you fill out the suggested traits.
I believe in myself here. I'm going to use suggested traits because I'm a simple person in need of easy wins. So it suggests 0, because this is all based on sorcerer. It's got nothing to do with the heritage and ancestry. So I'd like 0 for my agility. I'd like -1 for my strength. I'd like +1 for my finesse, +2 for my instinct, +1 for my presence, and +0 for my knowledge. Done.
And yeah, done that fast. And by the way, I have had somebody ask, well, where do the numbers come from? How do you know that those are the options you have, or why are those the options that you have? Every character chooses, they have that number. It's like a standard array, and you apply, it's just which stats or which traits do you apply that spread of numbers to. Oop, hit my mic. So everybody gets a 0, a 0, a 1, a 1, and a 2, and a -1. So you just decide which stats you want to put that in. And I'll be honest, unless you're going for something specific, I find that the suggested traits are actually pretty optimal. So moving on, next step, it says, is record character information. So just so you all know at home, You can't see it because the print is really tiny, but like right under the box that says evasion on it, and if you wanna point to that on your character sheet, the evasion is just out of frame.
Oops,
There we go.
slide it back in. There we go. Yep.
So your
Stack 10.
evasion is based on your class. So yes, as Rich just said, it literally already has it printed on the character sheet what your evasion should be. You don't have to look this up in the book and be flipping back and forth. It's just right there. Oh wow, we're done. And then let's see what else. You got your evasion, and then I'm not gonna make you mark 2 hope right now because hope comes and goes so fast that I've actually started to just use sticky notes for it. I just do little tally marks. It's really easy, just light little tally marks, and then I erase them. Or you can, if you want. Your first session, you will start with 2 hope. Let's see.
I'll fill those in for now. I'll put little smiley faces, maybe a bit small, but
Sure.
little smiley faces in the inner things. For me, when I'm GMing, I like physical tokens, and I'll encourage players to use physical tokens for their hope as well. So if I've got some spare dice or the nice little gemstone things, so here's my little shiny stack of.
I love fiddly bits.
Oh my!
Yeah, as a person with ADHD and autism, right? Like the ADHD, like I want to be messing with something like fidget toys and stuff like that. And then the autism bit, it's just like the tactile sensations of feeling my tokens and stuff. But anyway, okay. So yeah, you filled out your evasion, and you also gave yourself some hope. We're moving on. We're already at step 5. We're right smack in the middle.
Crushing it.
But that's the thing. The idea is like most people, their executive dysfunction kicks in, and they're like, "Oh, this is gonna take like 15 minutes." It is literally only taking 15 minutes because my Vyvanse is wearing off, and we're chit chatting so much between. But step 5 is starting equipment. If you are new to the game and you don't know where to get your starting equipment from, there's a table in the book, and you can totally do that. But also, if you look at your character guide right there, yes, that's the table, by the way. Also for free on their website. But if you look at your the suggested stuff on the character guide there, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I didn't know left from right when it came to should I get like a regular battle axe or a hallowed axe or whatever. So I just put the stuff from there, and it's usually pretty solid equipment choices because there's like a limited choice, especially when you're level 1.
Yeah. Something I found that wasn't quite clear actually in the book is that the staffs and things that the mages will get, the dual staffs and quarter staffs, they're actually firing magical missiles as they go. So this has a range of fire on it. I'd kind of assumed that the staff would just be a melee weapon, but actually it has this ranged sort of default firing magic at folk.
Yeah, and I think that really speaks to the idea that like flavor is free, right? And so when you see a weapon and it says, "Oh, a wizard with a quarterstaff can attack things that are far away," your brain, instead of going like it's an arcane blast, your brain goes, "Oh, it can be just literally anything I imagine being blasted out of the staff of a wizard." And I think somewhere it does talk about flavoring. It's not in the character creation part, but it does talk about like how you can flavor things differently. And I think one of the examples it does give is saying that a wizard's quarterstaff is like firing arcane blasts. Again, not in that section, but they also don't tell you what the arcane blast is or looks like, right? And I made that term up. There's no thing called arcane blast, or maybe there is. I don't know, but I don't think there is. I made that up. I'm pretty sure. Not that it's a very original. We're getting hung up on the wrong stuff. Okay, and we move on. So it even tells you.
No. Yep.
Yeah, it even tells you. This is your suggested active weapon, and you just fill it in. It's a 1-to-1 thing. I've had a lot of people go like, "What does this? The name? Where do I put the name of it?" And it's like, "Oh, well, it's it says name of the weapon on the character sheet," and it's like, "Well, where do I put the thing right after the name that's on the suggested weapon?" And it's like, in the field right after the name. And then it's like, well, it says trade and range, and it's like, there are 2 words there, aren't there? You're not going to believe where those 2 words match up to, and it's just 1-to-1 every time.
So I've now done my armor as well. So active armor is filled in. That's Gambison armor, which is a word that I didn't know before. I had to look that up when I came across Daggerheart.
Those like fluffy jackets,
the kind
right?
of padded vest kind of thing. So that could be anything in a modern setting, like a biker's jacket. But also
Mm-hmm.
you see it in it's like medieval armor and stuff as well, where often it would be worn under plate mail because metal on
Mm-hmm.
skin is not nice.
Mm-mm. I do want to say
Uh,
that if I had I think the only reason I know what what a Gambison is or what Gambison armor is because of Baldur's Gate. There's
mhm.
some bard specific pieces of equipment that are Gambisons, and I was like, oh, it's a padded like a padded jacket, like a So thank you, Baldur's Gate and Larian Studios. Moving on. Let's see. You put your active armor there on the field for
Mhm.
armor, and now
That's
here's
I
wait.
was going to say that's given me a few things, which I think you're about to say. So I
Yes,
will,
yes.
I'll sit here smiling for a bit.
I think we are on the exact same page here, which is mental wavelength, which is this, guys, gender neutrally, is the one part of your character sheet that is going to require you to do a two calculations. Now, don't be scared. Just know that if you can count,
I can
you're
count. I believe
probably
in
good.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the base thresholds are going to go into those white boxes between the minor, major, and severe damage that Rich is pointing out on your character sheet. The calculation is the base threshold number plus your level, and you're level 1. So what is the first base threshold? What does it have
Uh,
written there?
so my first base threshold is 5. I'm level 1. That makes that 6 is going to be my damage threshold.
We've done it. We've done it. And then what's the second
Beautiful.
threshold?
Second threshold is 11, plus my level of 1 is going to be 12
Rich can count
in the
all the way to
box.
12, and possibly so can you. And if you can, then you can do the most complicated calculation that is on this entire freaking character sheet. All right, let's move
If you
on.
ask, yeah, if you ask me nicely, I'll even count to 12 in the Sesame Street song, which is the superior way to count
Whoa.
to 12.
Save that for the
I've,
OF
I've,
stream, Rich, okay?
yeah, after dark.
Um,
Let's
so
keep going.
the last bit having to do with armor is it says you have a base score, an armor score,
Mhm.
and that is going to go in that shield that says what is it, armor?
Yep, that's
Yep.
3.
All right, that's
And
it.
what I like to do as well is because it's got the 12 little armor slots on here,
Mm-hmm.
I like to score out the rest of them in advance so I don't get confused when I'm sort of dropping down from my maximum. So
Oh,
it's
huh.
and that way I know I've got only those 3 to play with.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't saying huh because I was like opening the floor. I'm autistic, guys, so I'm gonna talk in terms of like as if social cues were like buttons you can press. That wasn't like a button to press to like open up the floor for me to speak or say anything. I was just going, oh, very interesting. By the way, the reason I was going huh was I do the opposite. I leave them all blank and I just go, oh, when I fill out 3 things, I'm done. And
Yeah.
then yeah, I just so I instead of counting down the way Rich is doing, I count up and I just stop when I get to 3. Different ways, different strokes, different folks. All right, we're done except for I think the next thing is inventory. Daggerheart gives you some
Mhm.
starting equipment, and I'm gonna tell you why it's so vague, why it has just basic supplies written there. That's because I have been playing D&D for years, and Peter, I don't know if you're still in the chat. Peter is probably going to have a field day with what I'm about to say and can cuss me out later. But I personally have never used the 50 feet of rope or the crowbar or the mess kit. Or, I mean, there's so much crap in the like basic adventures kit in D&D that I have just never, ever used or even thought about using. There are so many times when using a crowbar probably would have been useful. I don't fucking remember that I had a crowbar in my backpack. So it just says basic supplies. You do get 50 feet of rope, and I'm going to be honest, I feel like they put that in there as a meme. But anyway, that's your inventory. And then you get to pick a potion, either stamina for getting
Yep.
back your stress or health potion for getting back your health.
Yep.
What did you choose?
I generally choose health potions simply because my stress doesn't usually fill up as fast. Or rather, when I've been running games, the player's stress rarely fills right up. So as a GM, I'm a monster at just saying, "Oh, you take a stress, you take a stress,"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, and really trying to challenge that statistic. But not many GMs do that, so I feel I'm fairly safe in taking a health potion. Tends to have a bit more utility. So minor health
I
potion.
also want to just, as a disclaimer, say that I've painted in that last statement about Peter, Tales from Elsewhere games. I painted them as a very aggressive person. They're probably one of the chillest people I've ever met. There have been times where them talking about game design has just triggered my ASMR by accident. um, so let's see here, and that's
Yeah,
inventory.
something fun. Yeah, something fun in my inventory is for the choice of interesting other objects, I can choose a family heirloom or a whispering orb. Now,
Mm,
I'm a game master most of the time. I'm always going to choose the whispering orb. That is plot fuel. That is GM fuel. 100% right there. So I've given myself a whispering orb, which I'm sure is not going to be unsettling in the slightest. It'll be fine. Starts like saying gently terrifying things to my character in their sleep.
yes, that's super creepy. Um,
Love it.
And let's see. And oh, god dang it. I hate making typos. Okay, I love that in Discord you can edit your messages, but I hate that you can't do that publicly. Anyway, we digress. We move on. So
We're on step 6 now.
we are on
Here we
step
go.
6, creating your background. This is the very narrative part of making a character. The second part of your the second third of your character guide is split up into two halves. You have background questions and sorry, my hands are okay. Background questions and connection questions. The reason this is the way that it is because your background questions, right? So often have I been handed what feels like a homework assignment. You know what I mean? By the way, Bun Bun Riri, that's what this is for.
Hey.
This is both just like us making a character and showing off how easy it is, but also doing it step by step and walking people through the process. And we're actually almost done. So, Rich, the background stuff, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like how often have you, and I'm a person with ADHD and executive dysfunction, have you ever just been handed like a PDF or like a here's my background and it's like this super
Mhm.
long story. It's its own campaign and you're like
Yeah.
that's never going to come up. Some of it will, probably 10% of the juicy bits. Also,
Mhm.
I respect that so many people think that they are fiction writers and stuff. Um not every fiction writer is good. I'm gonna deliver some hard truths here and say that I have a friend who wrote a book, and they were telling me how often they told people that they wrote a book, and people did not read their book. And I was like, yeah, it's just like, oh, I'll put it this way. People don't even want to sit down and spend 30 minutes making a character for a game they want to play. Like, don't make me read homework. That's why it kind of condenses down your background in these questions because they want to know. This is basically what I would do if I was if I got one of those. I would go, give me the juicy bits, the stuff I can use, the things I can
Exactly.
grab and pull into the campaign, and it narrows it down to these three things. So, what are the three questions that come with your character? Just read them off to us.
Yeah. So my three questions are: what did you do that made the people in your community wary of you?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Next one is: what mentor taught you to control your untamed magic, and why are they no longer able to guide you? The third one: you have a deep fear you hide from everyone. What is it, and why does it scare you?
So
Oh,
the
I
first one,
love these questions so much.
yeah, the first one is basically like what makes you like maybe a bit of an outcast or something. The second one is tell us about like a mentor, which is basically an NPC connection and stuff, which very often becomes something that we GMs end up using later. And then the last one is tell us about a fear or like a traumatic experience. It's excellent. So yeah, that's great. go ahead and walk us through your answers, which, if you can see
Cool.
the space there, is probably going to be just a sentence or two long.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just tell you rather than write the words on here, just because
Sure.
I can talk fast and I can write.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Highborn Orc is already quite an interesting. It's a bit unusual in terms of your default fantasy, but I love the idea of this sort of orcish community who have the cliche of being like very strong and tough, but having these like courtly manners and having a very structured society. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Someone who has innate magic would undermine so much of that. And I think the thing that my character did that made them wary was I think just the manifestation of their magic was enough to unsettle folks. Depending on whether we're playing a high fantasy setting where everyone's got magic shoes, or ever it's low fantasy where we don't have much magic at all. A
Yeah.
character who is innately magical, who maybe they would not fit nicely into these structures. And if we're going for a specific event, I always enjoy the sort of traumatic incident of like I don't know, they burned their nursery down aged
Ooh.
age 3 or something through no malice of their own, just like hee hee, I've made fireball,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's very cool.
not being able to control it. And in this highborn society, rumor would spread, and suddenly that would be the talk of the town. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of label would stick to this character right into adulthood when presumably we're adventuring.
So,
So,
in a sentence, basically, it's you accidentally blew some stuff up when you were a baby.
yeah, yeah. Was it Jack Jack in The
Yes,
Incredibles?
that's exactly what I was imagining when you were describing it. So yeah, and I'm not gonna make. I mean, you can write it down if you want, but I'm not gonna make you do
Yeah.
that. I don't want your hand to cramp.
I'm going to play this character. This will
Mm.
actually happen. I'll find an opportunity to play this character sometime soon.
I'll have to get you into another one shot. Rich is in one of my one shots
Yeah.
coming up soon. Which, by the way, if you're part of the if you're interested in playing games, you can hit me up. And I'm not on Start Playing Games because the guy who runs Start Playing Games, Devin, super cool dude. The thing is, it does take a 15% cut, and I don't want to share that. So, especially because most of the people that I was getting as my players on Start Playing Games were people that were like finding me through my TikToks and stuff like that, or just like me in person, because I host and am in front of 200 people at once sometimes. And I was like, oh, the whole point of Start Playing Games is like it helps you network and get players. And I was like, oh, I'm doing that myself. So that's why I'm not on Start Playing Games. There you go. Perfect for character trauma with consent, of course. Yes, there you go. So second one, your mentor.
Yeah. I I do love the concept of the very competent nanny, sort of
Mm-hmm.
Mary Poppins thing in. Use Mary Poppins thing as as a verb. I think
Wait,
so.
wait.
Um,
Can I ask? What if? By the way, this is narrative collaboration. Everybody, this is how you do it. You ask, you make suggestions, you don't force things, right? Rich, what if you're? Because I thought, oh, Wait, Mary Poppins is kind of a sorcerer. What if your nanny was like a Mary Poppins that they got to watch you?
Amazing. Like the next nanny after the nursery burned down and the previous governess, I suppose, went away screaming with like
Yeah,
something like fire. Yeah.
and then
And
someone just
then
floated
the
down from the
last one
sky
comes. Yeah.
with their little magical bag. That's great.
Again, very much depending. So something obviously we're making this in isolation. Often you as GM would come with a campaign pitch. You'd have an
Mm,
idea of what the setting would be. So me coming up with nonsense like this that may or may not fit the setting.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
it's very much as long as it fits the vibes that you were going for in this game. But it's Mary Poppins. Let's go.
Is Mary
Um,
Poppins.
yeah.
And so yeah, let's see. And they why are they no longer able to guide you? Maybe,
Oh, the
maybe
wind
you're just
changed.
the what changed?
The wind changed.
The wind changed. She did her job. You
Yeah.
figured it out. You came to accept that wild part of yourself, and now you're just You don't need Mary Poppins
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
Um,
Gallivanting with the chimney sweeps.
yeah. Let's see. You have a deep
Uh,
fear you hide from everyone. What is it, and why does it scare you?
I think the deep fear would be that same being overcome with magic in the way that I couldn't control.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine this character would be all about learning mastery of their power, but what if they, I don't know, come into contact with a strong part of the weave of magic, say, and suddenly that same, oh, what's this? Oh, crap, everything's on fire now, happened at a national global scale as
Yeah.
they're now so powerful now. So I think that that fear of losing control, that
Ooh.
fear of their powers getting away from them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As they get stronger, they get progressively more afraid of themselves, and they're afraid of that
Mm-hmm.
thing from question one happening again, but
Mm-hmm.
on like this much grander scale. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, that feels. I will write that in. Fear of. Cool. And next step, I think we're
Yep.
rattling through.
So let's see. The next step is this is still actually part of step 6, but it would be, by the way, for viewers at home, this would be you asking other people in your party connection questions, because those questions are for other people. They're things like, what kind of friendly competition do we have and stuff, which I love because suddenly you're helping me paint who my character is. And Daggerheart is really big on like holding on to the reins loosely, right? So
Mhm.
it is your character, and ultimately, like, you do get veto power. But I like the idea that your friends are, if you're an Earthkin, which is one of the Void ancestries, and you have something where it's like you and this Earthkin person who eats rocks, you guys have like a friendly competition to find like the coolest rocks or something. And suddenly there's this almost like childlike part of the like hardcore mercenary, and it actually makes your character, like, believe it or not, that makes your character multidimensional, which from a narrative perspective is actually a lot more interesting than just an edgelord the whole time, which every player I've had who's started off as like 100% edgelord gets so bored of their character so fast that like those are the ones that become the
Mhm.
biggest bit characters. But anyway, so we're going to skip the connection questions and move on to create your experiences. This is, outside of domain cards, one of the oh, you know what? And create your connections is number 9, so we're just skipping number 9. But we are moving on to number 7. So number 7 is create your experiences. Besides picking cards, this is one of the fantastic ways that Daggerheart makes narrative things mechanical. Like, it blends those two, right? Because in D&D you have this like super long list of skills. There's acrobatics, athletics, doing a dance, performance actually, investigation, which is different from perception, and then there's also a blah 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 blah. In Daggerheart, the bonuses you get to add to your rolls because you're extra good at something is based on the experiences that your character has. It's not a generic list of skills either. So you would come up with your GM, and based off of the character questions that you just answered about yourself, you would come up with what are those interesting things that my character has been through or regularly does and has honed their skills in that makes them just a little bit better at doing these specific things. And don't forget, there's plenty of times where you have done something that was very impressive maybe, and you go, oh yeah, well, I used to do this thing, and it's not exactly the same thing, but there's like translatable skills, and that's how you use experiences. It's not if you put that you were a sushi chef as your experience. Yes, you can obviously use that for things having to do with being a sushi chef specifically, but you can also use that experience to maybe like you're picking a lock, and a sushi chef has to be very dexterous and precise with their hands. And if you can make that argument to your GM says, yeah, you know what? I think you can use your sushi chef experience in this situation because you're very dexterous with your hands. So go ahead and spend a hope and add +2 to your roll. So, Rich, you get to choose at character creation 2 experiences.
Mhm.
What are you thinking?
So I like to have, and I'll encourage my playlist as well. I'll have one which is almost like a tagline for them, something you could imagine them saying in conversation,
Like a
and to have
motto.
the other one as, yeah, and the other one as being, more of a like background fact. So he said like former sushi chef or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the more evocative one tends to be the quote. For a character I had a while back, that I made it in another system and then tried to make it myself in Daggerheart.
Mm-hmm.
Their line was "race you to the wishing tree,"
Huh.
which I don't know what that was, but it was evocative as hell, and
Yeah.
it had a lot of utility. It wasn't, oh, this character's automatically best at fighting or whatever, but we said, well, oh, this character's maybe a bit in tune with the arcane, or maybe they are just a fast runner. So it's
Yeah.
something with multiple utilities there. Um,
Yeah. And I
it,
also even you could even if somebody was writing like a shorter one and just put like race you there, one, I'm thinking, boy, this person probably runs a lot. And then two, I'm thinking, oh, this guy has a competitive nature. So if there are certain like scenes where you're like, oh, it's not just about like this one thing that we're doing. It's the fact that I'm trying to beat this other person. Can I use my experience? Because I think this is really going to push me and like motivate me. And I'd be like, yeah, you could totally use your experience right there. I think that's really, really cool. So what do you think is your? Do you want to use ratio to the
so,
wishing tree, or what are you thinking?
no, I've got a couple other ones. So the idea of being the kind of the outcast in this sort of high society.
Uh huh.
I'm trying. I had a line. It was something like, so I think it's gone. It was really cool, honest. But to do with almost like overhearing rumors and stuff, and sort of being part of the court. Um, ooh,
XOXO
is
Gossip Girl.
I
I'm kidding.
heard a
Don't.
rumor, which I think I heard a rumor is actually one of the traits, and also I'm sure that's actually one of the abilities of one of the people in the Umbrella Academy, which is a really fun series if you're not seeing that.
Yeah, you could definitely you could even say, guess what I heard, and it's like
Love it. Yeah,
And so now, this tells us like their character is really into what we in Spanish say. I'm Mexican and Cuban, by the way. Chisme, and chisme is it's gossip, right? So it's like, tell me the chisme. They're really into to hearing about the gossip and spreading it and want to know what it is. And so it's like, hey, am I good at picking stuff up? I want to hear. I'm in a tavern, and I want to know, are there like any rumors around? Can I make a presence roll to ask people about rumors in the town, or can I make or get dirt on somebody, or can I make an instinct roll to see if I'm able to just hear and pick up on that stuff because I have a natural knack for picking up on that stuff. I am a bit of a well, I'm not. I used to be a chismoso. I'm not so much anymore. I don't want to know people's drama because then I suddenly get like pulled into it, and I have my own stuff going on, and I don't need to be part of anyone else's drama too. But anyway, sorry, I'm answering the chat. So moving on, we have second experience. Second experience. What are you
yeah.
thinking?
I think something to do with this magic they can't control. So, um, even like a line to say out loud of I've got this under control," or oh, so it's hard to
Trust
do a
me, I've
thought.
got this.
Yeah, I think the only downside with that is that might feel a little bit too general purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always keen to kind of limit that for players that you couldn't just use
Yeah.
it in every opportunity.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
and that's really quick. Sorry for the viewers at home. That's the sort of give and take with the experiences, right? You want to make them general enough to have multiple applications, but you don't want to have an experience that's like hard hitter, and it's like every time I hit somebody, or every time I try to hit somebody, I get a +2 if I spend hope. It's like that's just cheating. Like, but that's why we have this sort of degree of a suspension of disbelief, right? And that's why we work with the GM to find something that makes sense, and is widely applicable in general, but like within some reasonable bounds. And
yeah.
some people have gotten very upset about this part of Daggerheart. Bye, Peter. Uh,
Bye, Peter.
but I will say, the people who get the most upset about this part of Daggerheart are either one, people who have shitty friends who get into arguments over stupid stuff with them all the time, or children. Children do not know how to settle disputes like this or treat a game like a game. Um, and if you're 30 and it still upsets you, it, dude, dude. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So let's see. What are you? What else are
So
you thinking?
I'm thinking I need to control the weave.
Oh no weave. That's illegally
Oh, oh, is
just like
it? Oh, the
yeah.
churn. Let's have the churn. Oh, that might be from the Expanse, which
Because
yeah,
the
highly recommended. But yeah,
in the same way, by the way, for those of you watching at home, the weave is like a D&D thing, how they explain magic and their canon and stuff like that. And I don't even think it's D&D in general. I think the weave might even be just the Forgotten Realms. I could be wrong. I'm sure other people who are deeper in the lore might know that. But yeah, it would be kind of like if we were like using the Force and it's like, oh shit, well, hold on, we're not Star Wars. Um, but you do need to, yeah, there is some degree to which you need to control the mystical energies around you and stuff like that. I feel like if we said something like control freak, that would probably be too like anxiety inducing, unless it's only in like intense high stakes, like things can't go wrong and they
Mhm.
stressful
Oh, actually, yeah,
situations.
this can't go wrong.
There you go.
And underlining can't. Yeah. Um, and again, that might be seen a bit generic, but as it does have a mechanical cost to it as well, it's very much the back and forward, as you're saying, with the GM. And Daggerheart is not the game for people who are adversarial with their GMs.
Yeah,
You
by
will
the
not have a
way,
good time.
that's something that pisses me off, that mindset when it comes to even D&D. If you are a player and you're watching this, actually just as much if you're a game master, um, it's not a player versus game master game. The you guys are supposed to be playing together. I tell this to all my players too. Like, we're playing together. When you come up with a cool idea, I'm going to try to help you make that happen because I want you to have that. I chose to be the game master because I want to see you guys do cool things. If you have a game master who's constantly trying to foil the party, not because it's a cool story or narrative, but because they're trying to figure out how to beat them within some kind of confines, that's called a dick. And if also you're a player who's trying to like break the game and cheese the mechanics and stuff like that, it's called I don't want to invite you to my parties. um anyway, they call me little fax machine because I be spitting straight facts. We're moving on to, let's see. We got create your own experiences. So we got two experiences. And they're both at +2.
Yes, we do.
We're on the
Yep.
last part, everybody.
Woohoo! It's domain deck cards. Here we go. I need to choose a subclass as well. I think we kind of missed out on that.
Oh my gosh, we
What?
totally forgot to choose a subclass. Do you know which
Yeah.
subclass you'd like to be?
I will. Oops. There we go. I'll know it when I see it. So subclasses. Each. Uh, let's see. Each class gets a choice of two, and they all have their own progression tree.
I just want to
So
point
for
out,
the
sorry, I just want to point out how ironic it is that I was like, let's make a stream where we show people how simple and easy it is to make a character in Daggerheart, and I managed to fuck up step one.
it's okay. Um, let's see what would work well. I think Primal Origin would work well, given the sort of the story that we're going for,
Yeah,
and their sort of foundation class of
yeah,
yeah manipulating magic.
I fully
Um,
agree.
yeah, and again, this is for flavor. I am the worst master in D&D. I made a cleric with a strength of 8 and had such a good time.
Well,
Uh,
I think it really lends to the fantasy you've created because of the fact that like the primal origin sorcerer is all about kind of controlling and bending like not just using magic but then bending its use, right? And so it seems like exactly what somebody who is afraid of losing control would develop the skills to do, to
mhm.
in response to that fear. Um, somebody who doesn't want, like, has a weird thing about their shoes being dirty is going to be the kind of person who learns how to keep their shoes super duper clean. So anyway, Domain cards. Really quick, I just want to tell the audience at home. If you look at the where it says sorcerer on the character sheet just above, yeah, at the top of there, it says Arcana and Midnight. Your character has access to 2 domains, and you get to choose between 6 cards because the level 1 domain cards, there's 3 of each. So in total, you'll have 6 cards to choose from, any combination of those 6 cards. And those are going to be the 2 abilities that your character gets at character creation. So by the end of this, you should have 5 cards in your hand. There's going to be your subclass, which they chose Primal Origin, your heritage, which is the community and ancestry cards that they picked. And then the last things at the very end are your abilities and spells or whatever, the 2 domain cards. And that's going to be your hand of 5. There's like rules on limits of how many domain cards you can have in your hand at the same time, but you can't get more domain cards until you level up anyway, so you'll be way familiar with the game by the time you have to cross that bridge. But anyway, so Midnight and Arcana.
So I'll choose one from each. I think the most on brand is going to be Unleash Chaos.
Okay.
That seems just perfect. And that gives me, I won't read it fully out, but it gives me a bonus, which interestingly applies each session, which is cool.
Oh.
So it uses the session as a mechanical thing rather than a long or short rest.
Cool.
Which I like.
I do like that too. And by the way,
Discord
for you
died.
what's up? No, I can hear you.
Oh,
It's
back
just
again now.
there's just nothing to there's just nothing to say while you flip through the cards. This is probably besides the conversational aspect of like the background and experiences, I would say that this is possibly the part that takes the longest amount of time, just because you have like all these options you have to read through, and there's mechanical stuff to it. I'm going to tell you now that 9 times out of 10, when people make a sorcerer or a rogue, one of the 2 cards they choose is going to be Raid of Blades. It's basically a lawnmower against minions and standard enemies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be unconventional here. I reckon Uncanny Disguise would be just given this sort of if they're starting in this kind of aristocratic place, that is a more useful spell for them. And immediately my mind goes to sort of elements in their past where they looked for opportunities to sort of hide who they were because they were this outsider. So with their Uncanny Disguise, they were able to pass off as someone else and sort of move more freely.
I love
and it
that.
might not be, it might not be tactically optimal, but that Daggerheart's not the game for you if you're trying to be tactically optimal.
Yes, by the way, if you are playing Daggerheart and you are trying to play a game that is all about just like completely tactical, grid-based, measure the movement and all that other crap, like, dude, there's so many games out there that already do that. Let Daggerheart be its own thing. Let it just not trip about the minutia and the tedium of measuring squares and shit like that. Like, I'm sorry, but I keep on seeing people try to inject the D&D mechanics of that kind of bullshit into Daggerheart, and like, why, when D&D is right over there? Like, you don't need to make every game be like it's like basically telling your current girlfriend that they should dress more like your ex. That's just
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to turn it off so I can have my rant. My rant is that Daggerheart excels at doing the one thing that RPGs do, which you cannot get from any other medium. If you want crunch and you want detail and you want, actually, I get an extra 5 feet for that and I get these little incremental tiny little details, you're better off playing a computer game that handles all that smoothly and efficiently. Trying to shoehorn that level of detail into a game which can only ever live in our heads it's just piling on more plates to spin for yourself as a player and for the game master as well.
Yes.
So what other thing I love about Daggerheart is it takes away like the simplified character sheet, the fewer abilities and stuff. It means that you can just focus on the things which role-playing games do uniquely, which no other medium can do. It lets us tell it lets us collaborate, come up with cool stuff, and then to have this story that we come out with at the end. And
I just before your soapbox goes in a different direction, I just want to touch on that part specifically because I've seen so many people complain and use they've turned the term like GM caveat, which is just like your GM has to decide things with you or whatever, into like they've turned it into some kind of what's the word I'm looking? They've turned it into a slur, like when conservative people use the word woke, and it's just like, dude, it's just it. I'm sorry, you have a problem with abilities that involve you discussing and conversing with your friends. You like that's just you telling me you don't like talking to your friends. You want to ignore, like, just bypass the conversation and just have a game that has such distinct and definitive and like mechanics that, like Pathfinder, you almost don't even need a GM sometimes. I mean, I have a wonderful GM, so I love playing it with them. But you sometimes it feels like the game was written so that you could play it without a GM even being there because everything is defined, and Daggerheart doesn't do that. But back to you, Rich. You were saying,
yeah. So to sort of continue that point, I've heard Daggerheart described as not actually a game for theatre kids. The theatre kids don't need Daggerheart to have a good time. The people who benefit most from it, I think, are people like me who've come from. So my background isn't in sort of acting or any sort of creative arts like that. I've got an engineering degree, but I love this more creative side of life. I love discovering role playing, discovering this world. Daggerheart gives me the support for those parts of the game which I'm maybe not as strong at. And when I'm playing with my very nerdy friends, we maybe don't think to ask each other these like deep personal questions in character that maybe someone with a theatrical background might almost do automatically. Like the cast a critical role, I don't think they need Daggerheart because they could have fun with a piece of string.
yeah,
They'll have
yeah,
they'll have an awesome show which will be delightful and heartfelt and beautiful. But for me, trying to replicate some of that experience around my table, I need some of those guardrails and some of that guidance that comes from these evocative questions and from the experience points and from all this stuff. So it's giving me roleplay tools in a
yeah,
way which D&D and lots of other systems, they kind of have a bit, but they're not as explicit. They're not as foundational to the system, and
yeah.
it allows uncharismatic people, of which I'd include myself some of the time. It allows uncharismatic
I
to
think you're
have
plenty
this.
charismatic.
Oh, thank you. It allows folks to have that experience that they've seen on Critical Role and other streams
Yeah.
without necessarily having those acting, improv skills.
It is a
I think
nice
that's it.
balance,
Yeah.
in my opinion, between because I was you're talking about like I don't know how to come up with like these deeper narrative aspects about my character, right, without these kinds of questions prompting it. On the other hand, I was also discussing the far end of other end of that spectrum, right, which is like characters who show up with they did so much thinking about their backstory that they wrote like a 10-page essay for me to read later, a short
Why
novella.
level one? Why is this character level one after having all this cool history?
Right, like
It's always
people,
a yeah.
there's an excellent video made by Viva la Dirt League, and it's D&D logic, and it's like level one characters or whatever, like level one backstories or something like that, and it's like, hold on, I can't do it. They called me Tarkin the Great, Slayer of the Kraken, and I've done other stuff like Destroyer of Orcs and the Great Blade of the Goddess of blah blah blah, and then like a farmer walks in and it's like, excuse me, adventurer, can you come in here to help me because they're giant rats everywhere, and they're like, oh, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it for you. And then they swing their axe down and they like miss, and then they get bit by the rat, and they're like, that's a crit, so you die. And then they're like, oh no. And it's like, yeah, it's just ugh. So anyway.
I'm so here for your attempted Scottish accent. I made an entire video on why folks from the US really struggle with Scottish accents. The reason being that folks think that Scottish accents are just one thing, but there's so many different variations, almost like dialects
Of course.
within the language that you end up sounding like you're from nowhere. And it's the
Yeah.
Mel Gibson problem going, "Hey, freedom! Ah, Scotland!"
I'm also
Nobody
like
really sounds like that.
I'm also like
So finding us,
way out of practice. I have an accent, like a
oh yeah,
Scottish accent that I do when I'm just being a Scottish person. That was very much my dwarf in a generic fantasy Scottish accent. Also very much an impression of how they did their accent in that video
nice.
because I think
But
they're actually
the risk is
amazing.
that I'll start doing American accents, and nobody needs to hear that.
Well, anyway, speaking of things nobody needs to hear, look at us, us girls gabbing. Um, FYI, for those of you at home, the only other thing they would have needed to do was make connection questions, but we don't have a party on call for them to ask these questions to. But yeah, connection questions are basically just like a really cool way to uh, figure out like how do I relate to you, how do you relate to me. It's really cool, helps you build a party right from the get-go, so by session 1 you've already got stuff that you guys have done together. I really like that about it. And I think that's it. That's making a character. So it's been about an hour. But I think we can agree that a solid chunk of that hour was just us chatting about random bullshit, which is totally fine because I like talking to you. But it is
Hey.
25 minutes past your bedtime, so let's go ahead and give everyone tell us where we can find you, Renegade Rules.
Cool. So you can find Renegade Rolls mostly on YouTube. I've got Instagram now as well. But I've actually got two YouTube channels. One is the GM advice. I'll talk about Daggerheart. I'll talk about all manner of different systems, specifically on the narrative focus side. So Daggerheart does come up a lot as it's a very influential game in that. But how we can become more, I'd say more like the folks on streams that you maybe see and enjoy. But speaking of which, I'm also someone who puts my money where my mouth is, and I've got an actual play channel that runs sort of in parallel, which I've got. One of my favorite games was actually the very first one to the channel, which was taking a group of people who'd never played a TTRPG before in their lives, plonking them around a table, and introducing them to Daggerheart, and they saw the rules, I think, about a minute before we started filming. So complete newbies with no experience of role-playing games whatsoever. And they've now, in that game, and then in sort of subsequent ones to play together, they're now almost like my little stable, of wonderful, wonderful players. And we're doing actual plays in Daggerheart. There's a D&D one, all kinds of games, all kinds of systems. The Halloween games in particular, yeah, I have some good costumes for those.
That's great.
But yeah, there's so much stuff coming up, and it's going to be really exciting. But yeah, thank you, fabulous Nico DeGaio, for having me on your stream. It's been a genuine pleasure.
Yeah, it's been really good having you as well. Rich, for those of you who don't know, is not just like a random dungeon tuber who I hit up and was like, "Do you want to be on my channel and collaborate?" They're like actually like a friend of mine, and I got the idea to do this because they're going to be a player in one of my one shots. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you. And for those of you at home, I'm Nico DeGaio. I'm a professional voice actor and game master and burlesque host. You can find all of my links on my Linktree, linktree.com/ it's Nico DeGaio, ITS, and then just my name, which you can obviously see in my handle, ITS NICODEGALLO. I'm on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I do a charity stream on OnlyFans. Check it out. If you're 18 and up, check it out. If you're not 18 and up, just see the first 4 things I said, but not the last one. Okay, well, it's been a pleasure, and that's how easy it is to make a character in Daggerheart. Maybe at some point I'll even like abridge this, like I'll edit it down and I'll be like, but I feel like maybe some people are going to enjoy the commentary, so I'm just going to leave it up as is for now. Rich, mwah, folks at home.